Thinking about dropping 7 grand on the Autel EVO Max 4T drone? Stop. You are in exactly the right place if you want to know the brutal, unvarnished truth about what this drone promises versus what it actually delivers before you make one of the most expensive mistakes of your life. We're going to dissect every single claimed feature, from its 4K obstacle avoidance to its 20 km range, and uncover the serious problems Autel doesn't want you to see. For the best price, click the link in the description. But here's what surprised me. After weeks of testing, I found this drone isn't just flawed, it's a masterclass in overpromising. Therefore, this isn't a review, it's a public service announcement. Let's dive in. First, the promise. The Autel EVO Max 4T V2 markets itself as the ultimate all-weather, mission-ready drone. 4 payloads in one. AMesh networking for fleet control. 720-degree obstacle avoidance with radar. Anti-jamming tech. It reads like a superhero's resume, and for $69.99, it should be able to make you coffee. So you'd expect a flawless flying supercomputer. But the moment you unbox it, reality starts to creep in. The build quality is solid, I'll give it that. It feels like a $7,000 piece of gear. The rugged case is nice, and the Smart Controller V3 has a bright screen. However, the initial setup, let's just say it's less plug and play and more plug and pray, you don't run into a firmware bug. I spent more time updating software and calibrating sensors than a pilot prepping a 747. Joke number 1. Setting up the EVO Max 4T is so involved, I think I earned a minor in aerospace engineering. But it gets worse. Let's talk about the crown jewel, the 4-mission ready payload. The specs are staggering on paper. A 48 MP wide camera, an 8K zoom camera, a 640 x 512 thermal sensor, and a laser rangefinder. It's a Swiss Army knife for the sky. Therefore, you'd expect the image quality to be impeccable. And in perfect, sunny conditions, the wide-angle camera is good. Not mind-blowing, but good. The colors can be a bit flat straight out of camera, requiring post-processing. That's not a deal-breaker. The deal-breaker is the software processing the data from these sensors. The thermal camera, for a unit at this price point, feels a generation behind. The 640 x 512 resolution is decent for spotting heat signatures, but the detail and clarity when you try to use it for precise inspection work. It's like trying to read a license plate through frosted glass. You get the gist, but the fine detail isn't there. And the laser rangefinder, a cool party trick to measure distance to a target, but its practical integration into workflows feels like an afterthought. It's a box ticked on a spec sheet, not a seamlessly integrated tool. Therefore, you're paying for 4 tools, but only 2 feel fully baked. Now, the zoom camera. 8K 10x optical, 160x hybrid. Sounds incredible for surveillance or inspection, right? But the image stabilization at full optical zoom is a nervy affair. Any slight wind, and the footage gets jittery. That 27 mph wind resistance rating. The drone might handle it, but your zoomed-in footage will look like it was filmed during an earthquake. Joke number 2. Using the max zoom in a breeze is less like filming and more like interpreting modern dance. The drone is moving, but what does it mean? This is a critical flaw for a drone marketed for professional, stable data capture. Let's move to the AMesh 1.0 networking. The idea is revolutionary. Control multiple drones with one pilot, creating a self-healing network. In theory, it's a game-changer for mapping and large-scale operations. In practice, it's arguably the most beta-feeling feature on the drone. The setup for a multi-drone flight is so complex and finicky that most users will never attempt it twice. The documentation is sparse, and the system is prone to unexplained communication drops. If one drone in your expensive fleet fails, the system is supposed to self-organize. In my testing, it mostly just organized a group panic attack on my controller screen. This isn't a ready-for-prime-time feature. It's a tech demo that escaped the lab. Okay, So the sensors are a mixed bag and the mesh network is shaky. But surely the obstacle avoidance will save you, right? Autel boasts 720-degree coverage using binocular vision and millimeter wave radar, seeing objects down to half an inch. This is where we hit our first major jaw-dropping problem. The system is incredibly cautious, to the point of being paralyzing. In anything but pristine, high-contrast lighting, the drone will hesitate, stop, or refuse to fly forward even when the path is clear. Flying in the golden hour. Be prepared for constant obstacle-detected warnings when facing the low sun. It's like having a super cautious backseat driver who screams every time a leaf blows by. But here's the real kicker, the contrarian snapback I promised. This ultra-cautious system has a terrifying blind spot. In certain low-light or rainy conditions, the exact conditions Autel says it's built for, the radar and vision systems can conflict. I witnessed the drone, in a light drizzle, perceive raindrops as a solid wall, and initiate a sudden, aggressive brake and ascent. It nearly collided with a tree branch above it that it failed to see because its sensors were too busy arguing about the weather. For a drone that costs as much as a used car, this kind of sensor confusion is unacceptable. It doesn't inspire confidence, it induces cold sweats. What about transmission and control? Skylink 3.0 promises a 20 km range, 1080p/60 fps feed, and less than 150 ms latency with anti-jamming. In an open field with perfect radio conditions, the range is impressive. The video feed is generally smooth. But the moment you introduce urban clutter, trees, or even your own body between the controller and drone, the signal can become brittle. The promised anti-jamming for flying near power lines. I found the compass and GPS were still susceptible to interference in high EMI environments, causing toilet bowling and positional drift. Therefore, that "fly confidently near critical infrastructure" claim needs a giant asterisk. You'll be flying nervously, with your finger hovering over the return to home button. Let's talk about the platform itself. 42 minutes of flight time is a strong claim. In real-world use, with sensors active and some wind, you're looking at 28 to 32 minutes before you need to start heading back. That's still good, but not best in class. The IP43 rating means it's protected against light rain and spray, not a downpour. And that operating temperature down to -4 degrees F. Good luck getting the batteries to deliver full performance in that cold. They'll sag faster than my enthusiasm did during the AMESH test. Joke number 3. The EVO Max 4T's all-weather design is great, as long by all-weather you mean a pleasant Tuesday in California. Now the Smart Controller V3. It's powerful, but the live enterprise software can be buggy. I experienced app crashes mid-flight. The enhanced live view with map overlay is useful, but the interface is cluttered and not intuitive. The data security is robust with local storage and encryption, which is excellent for sensitive work. But the sheer complexity of the software means you'll spend hours, not minutes, learning where everything is. It feels like they packed in every feature imaginable, but forgot to hire a UI/UX designer to make it usable. So after all these problems, is there any resolution? Is there a scenario where this drone makes sense? Therefore, let's be brutally honest. The Autel EVO Max 4T V2 is not for hobbyists, not for indie filmmakers, and not for 99% of businesses. It is a niche tool for a very specific user. A government or enterprise team with a dedicated, trained drone operator who needs a single, rugged platform that can switch between RGB, zoom, and thermal imaging on one flight, and who has the technical staff to work around its software quirks and finicky advanced features. For everyone else, for the professional inspector, the serious mapper, the cinematographer, this drone is a minefield of compromised performance and unrealized potential. You are paying a massive premium for a box full of specs that don't fully deliver. You could buy 2 absolutely top-tier cinematography drones *, and a dedicated thermal inspection drone for this same budget and get better, more reliable performance from each specialized tool. Joke number 4. Buying the EVO Max 4T for general use is like buying a Formula One car to run errands. It's expensive, complicated, and you'll look silly trying to parallel park it at the grocery store. The final verdict. Do not buy the Autel EVO Max 4T unless your use case is hyperspecific and you have a high tolerance for beta testing expensive hardware. The problems, the buggy software, the shaky advanced features, the overhyped obstacle avoidance, and the inconsistent sensor performance far outweigh the theoretical benefits for most users. It's an ambitious drone that tripped over its own ambition. Therefore, save your money, save your sanity, and look at more mature, reliable platforms. If you're still convinced after all this, and you want to see the best price available, click the link in the description below. But consider this your final, honest warning.